Welcome to Brunettes Who Bitch, where the sports are hot, the takes are hotter, and we don't hold back because life's too short to sugarcoat anything.
So welcome back to Brunettes Who Bitch. Tonight we're doing something a little bit different, taking a break from the chaos of the sports to talk about the moments that made us love them even more. These stories that remind us why we care so much. So we're going to start with the sport of baseball because if any sport knows how to tug at the heartstrings, it's baseball. And I have to bring up one of the most emotional moments ever, and it's probably my favorite moment in sports ever. It's the reason why I wear number 31 back in college. It was Mike Piazza's home run after 9/11, the first game back at Citi Field in New York City, one of the most devastating times just overall. And it's something that really brought the city together, made it feel like we were healing, that sports really brought everyone in one whole cohesive unit. So that's where the whole united we stand, divided we fall type comes into play, because even after 9/11, we had people running with flags on the field. We had the Yankees' most memorable 9/11 run right after 9/11. It really felt like a pure moment of healing, and I will love to say I was at that game. So
I have a hot take. It's not really a hot take. There should be a Subway series in memorial of September 11th every year on September 11th.
I agree. I agree.
I want the Yankees and the Mets to play each other every year. 4 games.
Yep.
2 at Citi Field, 2 at Yankee Stadium. Always for 9/11.
Yep.
MLB, make it happen.
It's like one of those. So obviously it was around the time of around very close to playoffs in baseball, and that's when like basketball was starting up and a lot of the sports were halted, but like the Knicks were away, I believe. No, baseball wasn't started yet. Someone forgot what was going on. There was another sport going on. My brain's not working. I was 5. I don't remember.
I was gonna say, was hockey preseason starting?
Maybe.
Starting, not really.
So basically, like, baseball was the only thing that was really happening at that time. So it really was
football was in preseason.
Yeah, but that's
exactly.
preseason.
So
they play in New Jersey.
Yeah, they ain't New York. They ain't New York teams. They're in New Jersey, New York. But then, but to be honest with you, it's just one of those things where it's like they were in the heat of their season. They weren't in preseason. They weren't anything. People were solely focused with baseball, especially that being the first game to be played after that whole event happened. And the fact that there was still rubble, there were still people digging through it, and people stopped what they were doing as they were going through that rubble to watch Mike Piazza hit that home run is something that I don't think anyone's ever going to forget, especially when you had victims of 9/11, like their families were also in the stadium that night as well. So I feel like that's probably my number one memorable moment that I will never forget. You can never tell me otherwise that there's something better than it, despite all the other stories that we're going to be talking about in this episode. But at the same time, I just feel like this is my top tier moment that I will forever.
I'm a Yankees fan, and I probably agree with you simply because we are from New York City. Like, we were in September 11th chaos.
Yeah.
We saw the destruction. I vividly remember it. My father wasn't home because he was working for Con Ed. Mm-hmm. My father didn't come home that night. It was not a fun time to be alive. I get emotional to this day on September 11th. It's the day before my birthday. September 11th is and has always been this really emotional time in our lives. And I'm not even getting into talking about it because I will get emotional now.
Yeah.
But like Piazza just unified and truly did, like, everyone just like be what New York was on September 12th. And like in that moment, we were all New Yorkers. And like it was just bigger than baseball. It was like unity.
And it was yes, like we're all New Yorkers, but it means that we're all in this together. We're all gonna fight together. We're all gonna get back to where we were together, realizing that whatever was happening on the outside of the stadium at that time is not occurring here. Like, life is still continuing on, unfortunately, because again, this is something that I wish never happened, but we can never forget about it. But what I really am thankful about this moment it makes you remember the unity that occurred during that moment. So there's just so much more than just someone hitting a home run into the outfield. It's just way more. It's the remembrance, it's the unity, it's the grieving process, giving us that relief for that split second, not realizing what's happening in Manhattan as you're in Queens. Like, it's all of that bundled up into one. And it's something that's always played on ESPN, on Bleacher Report, on Overtime, or any single sports channel that happens around 9/11. It's always replayed. Always. And then when Osama bin Laden was killed, that was also another game that they were like, yeah! But that's another story for another time.
So it definitely was a memorable time for good reasons, for bad reasons. And, Piazza inspired us. And talking about inspiring us, we need to switch over to a different baseball player who, Gab, this is for you because he's your favorite player. I don't know how many people know this because my mother did not know this until she saw everything he does with his foundation at one of the games. And she literally looked at me and she was like, he had cancer? And I was like, yeah, she was so baffled. Anyway, Anthony Rizzo was diagnosed with cancer as a teenager. He beats it. And then years later, he helps break the Cubs' 108-year curse, and they win the World Series. So I guess what I want to say is, can you imagine like going through all of that and delivering a championship to arguably one of the most tortured fan bases?
It's crazy. The most tortured fan bases, she goes.
Am I lying?
No, I mean, and it literally, there's other stories of that as well. Like, there's an NFL player who had leukemia and came back and played in NFL that season just after giving radiation, like finishing his chemotherapy like a week prior. And I even witnessed it with one of my best friends. He had cancer during the midst of his basketball season. He had to go through whatever he had to go through to make sure he's cancer free, he's healthy, and he actually played that same season. And it was one of like the biggest showouts ever. They like taped his name to the wall. It was really freaking cute. We have shirts that said #BallIsLife on it. Like, that's his like favorite slogan. But it's just one of those moments where it's just like, it happens to everybody, unfortunately. And it's something that's like, oh, the comeback really is greater than the setback.
Real.
And I love that we have people like Anthony Rizzo and the way that he does give back to his foundation, visiting kids with cancer, proving that, you're not alone in this fight. Like, we have these really inspiring people who have been through these fights, and athletes using their platform is really what sticks with us and what we need, because it can really be life or death for some people.
Like, even Josh Allen, the imprint that he made on all those kids. Like, they made a little video for him when he got the MVP
Josh Allen
award. But like, when they made the little video for him when they won the MVP award, I thought that was the sweetest thing ever. But then I saw that one video where he's just like, yeah, I'm waiting for Josh Allen. He goes, yeah, where is he? He's like, I don't know. That she's talking to Josh Allen. And then as like the day goes on, she's like, you know my name? Like, very impressed. It was just the cutest thing ever. I just love stuff like that.
Kate sent me that video and she goes, I'm endeared by a football player.
Yeah. I think that all got us endeared by Josh Allen. I won't lie. In the kitchen.
No, that was probably one of the most heartwarming things that I saw like in football, like this year, day and age, was Josh Allen with those kids.
He's so sweet. I love Josh Allen.
He's just a good guy.
Yeah, definitely.
They need better platforms because we need to see more of the good guys.
Right.
We're seeing so much more of like the scandals, the drama, the politics, whereas like,
give us the sweet ones.
Why can't we see more of like the charity work that's being done? Why can't we see more of like the milestones that people are reaching? Why do we care about all of this other drama? Like, I get it, cool, like people would like bait off of that stuff, but at the same time it's like, is it really necessary to constantly bring in things that don't really matter? In my opinion, like sports should just be sports. Back to the Mike Piazza thing. Sports was sport. Baseball was baseball. Baseball wasn't politics. Baseball wasn't divided when it. Correct.
It's literally just, it's a sport. Go out there, do your job, and fans can enjoy it and then carry on.
Like, it was our relief from the outside world. So why are we bringing that outside world in?
Exactly. That's real.
Can I give a hot take about that?
Yeah.
It's the keep politics at a sports crowd that are bringing politics into sports, and it seems so incredible for me. Because like there's like on Facebook it'll be like for Pride nights and like special nights, and they'll be like, oh, like keep politics out of sports. But then the second it's like a world leader is like going to an event, like what was it? Trudeau went to the game in Canada, and then like Trump at the Four Nations with the phone call. People are like, "Oh my god, like we gotta win it for Trump," and I'm like, that's literally not the point. Like, this is a sport. We are not. We are not. Fair. Trump is not on ice skates right now. Trudeau is not doing whatever sports they have in football other than hockey.
No, that's valid. That's valid. But like that's another point of like.
God,
but like,
I need to see who won the election. Oh my god.
But like keeping sports, that's it. Like I work for a school where they do the Pride Night, where we do stuff for Black History Month, and like that's just part of their, like their mission and all that stuff. And it's fine because that's the world that we're living in, that's the culture that we're surrounding, and that's what we evolved into. But at the same time, it's because you also have it's involved. We have Black athletes, we have LGBTQ plus athletes, like. I don't understand, like, how is that not part of the sport when you have people involved in all that? So it's more so just like outside sources aside from the cultures that we live in.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like the politics, I could really care less. Like you support who you support. I don't care. Do what you got to do. But at the same time, it's like, let me have my one moment of relief where I don't have to hear anything, don't have to see anything. Just let me live in the sport that I want to just watch and forget and just live.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
With all of that.
Thank you. I'm glad I didn't have to like be like, oh,
defend that one.
No, I mean it's a touchy subject. It is. It shouldn't be, but it is.
Because also like you were saying with like the whole culture and everything, like it's not like that type of thing is not politics. That's like identity, that is expression, that is something completely different. It's when you start bringing like policies and politicians and shit like that into the mix. It's like, okay, now you're making it about politics. Let's not do that. Please.
Like why did I have to know that the Eagles denied going to the White House? I don't care.
That's also
I didn't need to know that.
I regardless of who is like the sitting president, why is that a thing? Why are we
I don't know when that started actually. Wait,
because the Panthers did it. Like why they waited so long to do it, I have no idea.
It's a congratulatory thing. It's a tradition. I don't know when it did start, but they've done it forever.
Is it like the pardoning of the turkey?
Shit.
Like what is going on?
So sorry, I didn't mean to cut everyone off, but I looked it up. Like it's like when did the professional champions start going to the White House? It said the tradition of professional sports teams visiting the White House began in 1869 when the Cincinnati Red Stockings visited Ulysses S. Grant. The traditional Super Bowl champions visited the White House began in 1980. So Super Bowl happened in 1980, but baseball started in 1869. So baseball, once again, going back to it all, started this whole trend of going to the White House and stuff like that.
Wow, amazing.
Which I get it. You want to be like involved. It's the nation's pastime. It's America's pastime. You have the president congratulating you. I get it. I don't care that you're declining. I don't really care that you're going.
I don't.
The question I
it's
have
not gonna
is,
make or break me.
We all apparently like obviously the Stanley Cup hasn't been in Canada for a while, but like how the Panthers went to the White House. If a Canadian team wins, what are they gonna do?
I don't.
That's a valid question. That's a really valid question.
They just go to Parliament
the
Hill?
Team is not
I don't know if you guys do that.
Well, this is another thing. Like
the Raptors didn't. I don't think the Raptors did when they won the championship with the in the NBA. But I honestly don't know. I know that they have parades and stuff. Like they did have their parade. They had their whole celebration thing.
Yeah. I don't remember NHL teams going to the White House prior to this past time. Am I just living under a rock?
It's normally not advertised.
Okay. This time it was.
Let me rephrase that. It's normally not blasted all over social media the way that everything is advertised and publicized the way it is right now.
Yes, the Panthers did go to the Stanley Cup.
Yes.
The Stanley Cup, the White House.
Yes, they did. We know it was all over the place.
I knew about that.
Losing their
minds. But it's also because everyone was at the time talking about Matthew Tkachuk because they're like, he's with the Four Nations and everything.
We got very sidetracked.
Anyways, yeah. Sorry, that was my bad.
Moving on to basketball, let's talk about Isaiah Thomas's playoff run. I think it's important to bring up this playoff run that happened in 2017. Isaiah Thomas lost his sister right before playoffs. And somehow, he's stronger than me because somehow this guy went out and dropped 53 points in a game on what would have been her birthday. It's just incredible to think about. You could see the emotion in every shot that he made. You could see all of the, just passion and love that he was putting into every single thing he did on the court that night. And it just shows that, he wasn't just playing basketball. He was also playing for her and in memory of her, I guess, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Which I think is just, like I said, he's stronger than I am because I could never. I would be a wreck.
Same.
Yeah.
I think a story like that kind of puts everything into perspective. There's always arguments about contracts and team loyalty and things as we just discussed, politics and sports and things like that. There's all this discourse and everything. But at the end of the day, these are real people with real struggles that go through a lot of things and deal with things behind the scenes that we don't always know about, or we do know about. And, they go out there and still put everything into that game. They wear their hearts on their sleeves and put their hearts on that court or field or ice or whatever it is, which I think is just incredible.
It's admirable, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Admirable, yes, that's a good word for it.
It's a T word.
I'm a fucking human.
That was a big word for the day.
But that reminds me, I think it was one of the baseball players. I don't remember exactly what team it was. He was a rookie. He was just called up and he was at his first major league at bat. He lost his dad, I think the week prior or something like that. And I think he lost his dad when he got the call to saying, "Hey, you're playing in our next game. You made it to the big leagues," type stuff. And as he was at his first at bat, first pitch, his first swing, home run.
Incredible.
Yeah.
That is incredible.
And I think he did something for his dad too. I think he was wearing something or something with his family. I forgot what he was doing. Again, I'm drawing a blank, but it's really crazy. It's really crazy. Stuff like that really makes you think oh shit, they really are just people. They are human. They are sure.
People forget that. And it's important to remember that they are still just people and they go through the same things we do.
Exactly. They think they're just they're superhuman. Oh, you got all the money in the world. Why are you upset? What? I don't know. Some people in comment sections on social media really make you question the fuck.
Sometimes it's hard to tell if they're legit or bots, but either way I still get mad.
No, most of the time I'm legit, but most of the time they're young kids. Not fully understanding the severity of a situation.
Yeah, for sure.
That's pretty much it. And they just think that, I'm just commenting on social media. It's not going to be that big of a deal. But people still, I think they said something about Isaiah Thomas losing his sister. I think someone made a comment about it. And Ashley, you have an idea.
Heartless.
Yeah.
I literally will see things on Twitter and then I have to get off of Twitter because I'll end up fighting with everybody because how can you sit there behind your little faceless account and say all of these demeaning and diminishing and just really awful things about these people?
Could you imagine one player has one bad game and you get all these shitty comments in your section, but like you don't realize, did something happen at home? Did something happen to him mentally or her mentally? Like, again, one bad game is one bad game. Again, they're human. Like, they're not robots.
No.
They're supposed to be, don't you know?
Yeah.
Cyborgs.
But like this is what also drives me nuts is like, for example, when Sabrina Iankunu, when she was in the WNBA championships this year, she helped them get there. Like, she got to the championship game. She forced the game 7. Like, everything was fine. But she only had like 5 points in like that game. Like, she didn't do anything. But if you saw, like, something was wrong. Like, I was like, she's not playing like herself. So then once there's pictures of her like posted everywhere, like Sabrina finally got her ring or blah blah blah, there's people in the comment section be like, she didn't do anything. Like, she doesn't deserve that. Like, why are we posting her? But then it actually came out that she literally was playing with a broken hand because she broke it like in like game 3 or something like that. Yeah.
That reminds me of Matthew Tkachuk playing with a broken sternum.
Yeah.
See, the thing is, though, with hockey,
literally had to help him out of bed.
Like with hockey players, that doesn't surprise me one bit.
They are a different breed.
I expect that from them, honestly.
Yes. I want to say it was, I don't know if it was the 2023 playoffs. I know it was Patrice Bergeron was playing with like a fucking broken rib in the playoff.
Yeah.
And you're like, how the fuck? Like,
I'm such a baby. I could never.
I hyperextend my pinky and I'm like, I'm out. Like, I can't.
I was just gonna say, guys, I have a messed up rotator and pec muscle, like rotator cuff and pec muscle right now, and I'm a baby about it.
I would be too.
It hurts so bad. It's
different.
It stresses me out because it's on the left side and it constantly hurts. So I literally want to throw myself out the window. But
all right,
I was looking it up and I couldn't find it. So if you're listening to this, can somebody tell us who the player is?
I don't know. I think it was an MLB player, but I know it also happened in college too. But college was his mom died. It was from breast cancer. I remember that because they specifically did a breast cancer game for his mom. So I remember that clearly, but it was an MLB player. I can't remember who it was.
I'll find it later.
Yeah. But all right. Next segment 3. We got football.
Okay.
Who's handling that?
Moving on. That's me. Moving on to football.
I love Peyton Manning.
Yeah, if it wasn't obvious, we're going to be talking about Peyton Manning.
Sorry.
And winning Super Bowl 50 in 2016. So let's talk about a guy who basically defined an era of football, Peyton Manning. So he's one of the smartest QBs to ever play, and his Super Bowl 50 win was the perfect send-off. So after multiple neck surgeries and nearly retiring, Manning came back for one last ride with the Denver Broncos. He wasn't the same dominant QB, but he led the team to a championship, retiring as a Super Bowl winner.
That's actually sick if you think about it. Like,
it's
literally ended with a bang.
Yeah, it's a nice send-off for sure.
He literally won with a bang.
I love
right? Does he has more Super Bowls than Eli, doesn't he?
I don't know which brother has more.
Or does Eli have more?
I want to say I literally just looked this up earlier, but I also might be thinking.
Who has more Super Bowls, Eli Manning or Peyton Manning?
I want to say it's probably Eli.
No,
just based off of...
They've won 4 combined.
2.
Oh, shit.
So that he literally tied his younger brother with that win.
He said,
however,
and then gone.
Eli has the better Super Bowl record.
Ah, okay.
What do you mean record? Like, emphasize, like
score, probably.
I want to say it has to do with yards and touchdowns and everything.
I was like, when I think of record, I think of winning. Them. Yeah, so I think of he's like 2-4, or he's like 1-3, or something like that.
That I don't know. I'm looking.
I mean, I could see that being record because I think Eli did go to the Super Bowl more than Peyton.
He might have.
So if I just didn't win it more times.
If I call Matt right now to be like, how many Super Bowls did Eli Manning go to? He would tell me.
He would know the answer.
He would know the answer. He would be the person to know. That drives me nuts. But yeah, I think it's a really cool send-off. I think any time that you literally end your career with a bang, I feel like that's something that's a tribute to your hard work, your dedication, your career, that you're literally leaving your impression on the team with that. Like, there's not going to be another Peyton Manning on the Denver Broncos ever. But I don't know. I really don't watch football enough to continue to like say like, yeah, all this stuff, like as if it was like baseball or basketball.
I felt that.
But like, I don't know. I just feel like football is one of those sports that a lot of memorable things really did happen within it. Sure. And I feel like Peyton's send-off was one of them. Who else? Even, I'm not going to lie. I'll give Saquon Barkley his little hype. Winning the Super Bowl. Leaving the Giants. Basically given the free range to go explore his options. He leaves a losing team and literally wins the Super Bowl. Come on. I'm sorry. I know you're mad, Ash. I understand. I get it. Salty Giants fan. I get it. But you got to give the man credit where it's due. You can't hate the man because the man was literally given free range. Explore your free agency.
I don't hate him. I don't hate him as much as I thought I hated him.
Valid.
Is what I should say. I was relatively happy for him and only him. He was like the extent of who I was happy for.
Fair enough. Like, he's the only reason why that I rooted for the Eagles. I would never root for the Eagles again in my life, but I only rooted for the Eagles strictly because of Saquon Barkley. So the final segment is now hockey. Okay. So when it comes to heartwarming moments in sports, hockey doesn't get talked about enough within these conversations. But Martin St. Louis in 2014, his mom passed away suddenly during the playoffs. And instead of stepping away, he stayed with the team. And the Rangers were struggling, per usual. But after he scored in Game 6 on Mother's Day, everything changed. They went on this insane run to the finals. His team.
Can I just say?
Okay, go.
If it was my mom, if I lost my mom, I would literally be a wreck. I don't know.
Yeah,
how
I would.
He went out there and stayed with the team.
I will not have the mental capacity to actually play.
No,
like, whether my mom or my dad, I would not have mental capacity to play ever.
No, same here. No shot.
No. But his teammates rallied around him. The crowd was chanting his name, and it was one of those moments where in hockey felt like family. But this is every sports fandom. Like, I understand that we all have fan bases we can't stand, but all fan bases can be considered family. Like, you guys literally met through hockey.
Yeah, distinctly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it creates that persona of like friends can be made, family relationships can be represented, and that's what's the best part about sports, in my opinion. But okay, so Ashley, take it away.
I just want to add, like, you said that we met through hockey, and like, hockey is, and I don't know if it's, I don't want to say it's just the Devils, but like, I don't have the same fan base feeling and the family feeling with the Yankees fandom as I do with the Devils fandom.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
And the Devils truly, like, even like the players' parents know us. Like, we talk to these people. They're like literally our little hockey family.
Mm-hmm.
So to be this close with people and then having your mother die, like, there's so many things that we're going to talk about. I couldn't even imagine going out there and having to perform and put on this.
No,
I couldn't do it.
I
could not.
Face and playing. And I will say, TJ Oshie, Kate's the one who brought him up because he wasn't my original
pick.
I picked Martin St. Louis. And when she said, wasn't there a player who did this? And I was like, oh, it was TJ Oshie. I remember it because I remember his interview.
Yeah.
And he was sobbing in his interview. Like, this man was crying. And I guess I should give you a little bit of the background about it, but he helped the Caps win the Stanley Cup in 2018. And his dad was already battling Alzheimer's at the time, and he was in the crowd. And after they won, his interview was literally like, he was in tears talking about how his dad might not remember everything, but he would remember that moment. Fast forward to 2021, his dad passes away. And the next day, Oshie goes out and scores a fucking hat trick. He was already emotional during warm-up, so by the time he scored the third goal, his teammates were literally all over him. The fucking videos for this are so cute. Like, I don't know how else to say it. He called his father Coach Oshie, and he always talked about how much his dad had shaped him as a player and as a person. and the hat trick was his way of honoring his father. And I can't watch the interviews because I cry to this day. Happened 4 years ago now.
And like I said, these moments live with us forever. Like, even if it's not directly impacting our lives or our teams or our favorite players, like, it's just the fact that these moments do happen to these professional athletes who some people look up to, making them more normalized, more humanizing them. And I don't know. It sucks to think that, like, oh, someone has to pass away to make it be like, oh, they are human. They are living a normal life like everybody else. But it's a reality thing for them too. And I feel like that's a really big thing that really makes sports so special, is realizing all of this.
I was going to say, we want to talk a little bit about Johnny and Matthew Gaudreau. Obviously,
Dude,
still a pretty devastating loss because it's still so recent, but it also feels like it happened so long ago because of, like, how the league and the players have, like, just, like,
continued. It's gonna drive me nuts because I know I wasn't home. I think I was with Matt somewhere, and I got the notification. I was just like, this isn't real. And I'm just thinking that, oh, is this like another like OD type of situation? But then it said like his brother, and I'm like, what? But what also broke my heart even more about this whole situation was that their sister's wedding was the next day. And like, I can't. Like, I feel like that's like, it's heartbreaking enough seeing like two of you, let's say if I was the mother, two of your children are gone due to reckless driving. And the next day you have to deal with your daughter's wedding and you have to put on
the hat. She postponed it.
I know she did, but like, she didn't have to do that. Some people would just be like, no, we could continue on if they would want us to do it. Like, you know, but she would have to put on a brave face for her daughter because it's like, whatever you want to do, I'll support you. I'll do this. I'll do that. Like, she literally had to.
Yeah.
All of
so what I think is very heartwarming about the whole thing is like, so we're recording this episode at the end of February and the Blue Jackets are actually on their mom's trip right now. And they brought Johnny's mom.
Oh,
and she's with them. And I just think it's like so sweet that even though Johnny's not there, like they're still including the parents and the families in so many things. You know, Meredith still goes to all the games with the kids.
Yeah.
Like they're there all the time.
They celebrated like one of the kids' first birthday.
Yeah, Johnny's first birthday the other day.
I thought that was the cutest thing ever. Like, they sang happy birthday to him. I was like,
oh yeah. Not only that, but like even talking about the mom, Guy was at Flyers practice, literally on the ice with the players. Yeah. Team USA had Johnny's jersey hung up. They had a plaque for Johnny. Everything was for Johnny, for Johnny, for Johnny.
Can I just say, I think all these memorials, like, it's so sweet. It's so, like, it's heart-wrenching, but also heartwarming. But every time I have to watch it, my heart literally rips out of my chest for Sean Monahan. Yeah. That man came to Columbus to play with Johnny.
He was so excited to play with him.
This was, again, I'm not like really in tune with hockey players.
His best friend.
That's the one that
we
was
played together on Calgary.
Like, he was hysterical crying on the ice like that day.
Yeah.
Oh, bro. He made me cry. Like,
Monahan is like, he's stronger than anybody. Between him and Meredith, they're like two of the strongest people I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's crazy. I can't.
I could not. And she's pregnant.
Yeah, she is.
I love like how not just Columbus, not just Calgary, not just the places these people played for, the entirety of the NHL, every fan base has rallied around the Gaudreaus.
Yeah.
Has rallied around Oshie when that was going on for Oshie. Like, there's just the fan bases rallying around these people, and like, they are human. They have these emotions, and I feel like that's something that we really need to remember. We need to humanize these players.
For sure.
Yeah. And it like I said before, it sucks that things like this have to happen to humanize these athletes that some people idolize and look up to. But that's the reality of it all. But it's there's a lot of events that we can go into and we can talk about and we can go into more detail on. But notice they're all going to have one common denominator, and it's going to be that everyone rallied behind them. Everyone came together. Everyone was unified. It was a family experience. He's humanized. Like, it's all going to be correlated into one bundle of like support and togetherness. And that's what sports really is, like what it's about. Sure. Well then, okay. So this is why we love sports. I work in sports. I deal with this every single day. I deal with it firsthand. We're all former athletes in here, whether we played it, we worked it. This is something that we are truly passionate about. The wins and losses fade, and these stories stick with us forever. Whether it's an entire city healing, an athlete overcoming the impossible, or just a moment of pure human resilience, sports have a way of reminding us of what really matters. And it's not just about the pros. Everyone has their own sports moment that hit them in such a personal way. That's why we care so much.
Exactly. And we'd love to hear from you. What's a sports moment that hit you right in the heart?
Right there. Even if it's personal, if it's pros, let us know. Tell us everything.
It doesn't even have to be like a professional. Like if it's like your high school sports team, we want to know about it. That type of stuff is like nice to hear about. But so let us know. Don't forget in the meantime to hit the subscribe button, comment anything you want us to talk about, like, review, rate. But yeah, anyways, comment anything you want us to talk about, let us know, and we'll see you next time on Brunettes Who Bitch. Heart hands.
Oh, again? Gosh, guys.
She does it at the end of every episode.
Crazy. There we go. I got the hearts for you guys on the screen. Okay. Perfect.